Hi, my name is Marco Bronzini. I'm a graduate of the Royal Academy of Arts in London, England. I welcome you to my YouTube channel, Marco Bronzini Art School and Studio. Today we're going to do a rather large piece, 30 by 40. It'll be a figure on the beach, painted very loosely. So this is our reference today, a figure on the beach with some beautiful lighting and kind of windy day, I guess, on the dress is very nice. So we're going to paint it very loosely. Today we'll be using phthalo blue, French ultramarine, cerulean blue, viridian, raw sienna, burnt sienna, cad red light, alizarin crimson, cad orange, cad yellow light, titanium white, and this is a liquid for today. Okay, so as usual, I prime my canvas with a gray color. I used unbleached titanium and a little bit of black. Makes it a sort of a warm gray. All right, so as usual, I'm going to do just a few lines. The horizon line is way up here, which is very good for the composition. So I'm going to put it right there, just to get an idea. And the figure on the reference head is right here. I'm going to put mine a little bit above. So, and just a little off center. So she's pretty much in the center in the reference. I'm going to put mine a little bit off. So the center, my center is going to be right there. And the head is going to be right in here. So just a few lines just to get her going. I want to paint this very loosely, so it's going to be very large brushes and absolutely no detail. This is just ultramarine now, for those who are wondering what I'm using. Yeah, just a few little things. And then we're going to start with a very large brush, just putting a few colors on the face. Just to get things going. And then I'm going to go at the back. I'm going to use my phthalo blue and my viridian as well. I'm going to start putting some colors in there just to get her, to bring her forward. There's some waves and rocks in there, but I'm not interested in that for the moment. Just putting some colors. And the darker line is going to be right there. This will be my horizon line. And above that, I have some sky. Very pale color right back in here. Okay, and I'm going to introduce a hair, kind of a rough idea, using my burnt sienna, some orange in there, which you're going to do a little later on. It's a bit too early for that. Kind of flows back in here. And I'm going to go into a dress, get some of those bright colors in here. There's a sort of little pinkish color in there. And then really, I like the flow of the dress right in here. It's actually what I found there. The way it's catching the wind. Some folds in here. And then some reflective light throughout. So the skin bouncing off on the dress in here, so it has a sort of pinkish cast, which you're going to start introducing it like this. It's pretty straight in here. Okay, I'm going to start doing a few little lines just to make sure I have the figure the way I want it. It is a loose painting, but we want it to look human. So a few little lines to correct just a few little things. I think that's too low, so I'm going to come up right in here with that arm. I line that a little bit better. Going to cut in right in here as well. And the neck's right there. Eventually that will be a neck. And then we'll reintroduce this line roughly in here. Yeah, I think that's a better. And she's working down in here. All right, now we can concentrate on other things. I'm going to introduce a little bit of a purple in there. Some grayish color. Like the contrast in here, very pretty. Against this. Flowing in the wind. And then this is a little bit darker in here. This is where a body turns. So this would be reflective light. This is highlight, and that's where the body actually turns. So highlight, mid-tone, reflective light. Very important. I had a workshop with my students on that recently. All right, pick up in here. All right, let's reintroduce some water in here. Make sure we have the right shape. Some of these are kind of important, some less. Basically just filling in with lots of paint. As bold as possible. There's some nice areas of light colors that are very important, like right in here, right behind there, under there. Then we can put a bit of some foam here, just have some fun, but keep it very bold. All right, I'm gonna come back down in here now and reintroduce some of the values on the dress. Right in there, and then an entire area of shade. All right, let's reestablish some of the light in here. This is a mixture of burnt sienna, some alizarin crimson, some ultramarine. Makes it kind of a nice gray. Same thing in here. Same thing in here. I like the movement of the dress there. Of course, there's a lot going on. There's a leg in here, and you can just barely see some of the light in here where a leg is, creating that sort of a little bit of light in that shadow right there. And then eventually we're going to do a foot. So foot is, let me see where that is, right back in here. She's in full motion. And the other one is somewhere down in here, in the sand, which we're going to do in a minute. But before that, we're going to go back to the water and pick up some of those light colors against that. A lot of movement. And on this side, a little bit darker against that dress. Okay, she's a little bit too short in here. I'm gonna scrape that off, and I'm gonna lower the dress a little bit. This is a little bit too short, so I'm gonna come down right there and right in here. So her foot is now going to be in here, as opposed to where it was before. It's okay to make a mistake. That's where her foot is going to be, and the other one is going to be in here somewhere. Right, that's much better. All right, let's reintroduce some of the colors in here, which is the dress sort of blowing in the wind. Some deeper values inside. Same thing in here, there's some dark colors in there. There. I'm gonna go back to this in a second, right here. And then just keep putting some light in here. All right, before I go back to that, I want to introduce some dark colors in here. So I'm gonna go back to my ultramarine. Some viridian as well. And I'm gonna put some colors right against that just to outline the whole dress. That bounces it off. Right in here. And then this is the outline, so we can just blend that a little bit. You can put a bit of foam in here, maybe, just for fun. But at the end of the day, we want contrast. We want the contrast of the water against the dress. That's what the painting is all about. there. So we're looking for movement and light, etc. All right, a few colors in the face, strong light in here, kind of a shadows in there, which is kind of good. No details. That's not what the painting is about. Neck is right there. And then I'm going to come in against that with a hair, which is just kind of reddish hair. Kind of blowing in the wind right there. All right, let's do some highlight in here. And also, I like the way the hair sort of frames the face in here, head, I should say. Like this. It's amazing hair. And then we're going to outline the neck a little bit better with the water. Right there. That's her neck. And we're going to come down to this in a second. All right, so let's do some light on this part of her neck, right in here. Pick out quite a bit of light in here. Yeah, this is more what I wanted the painting to be about. A lot of reflective light all around. The blue bouncing off in here. In here as well. Yeah. All right, and I'm going to clean up all around that water, which is very disruptive right now. So we're going to make sure everything is correct. All that gray is going to be gone in here. So normally what I would do, of course, I would leave that painting alone and I would come back when it's dry. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to push it further and see what happens. I'm blocking literally all that gray right there, which I don't need. And I'm going to come into the sun a little bit now. All right, let's do a little bit of the sun at the bottom. Just kind of the raw sienna, a little bit of blue in there. It's kind of a light color. And then she casts sort of a lovely shadow on the sun, which is a kind of bit of a purple color in it, which is very nice. Right there. It comes out of the canvas, of course. And then in the process, I'm going to introduce the foot, which is right in here. Where is it? Right there somewhere. A little bit of light on it, nothing much. This one is full shade. So we're going to surround it with some light color just to reintroduce it into the painting. Like this. All right, I'm going to block some sky now, sort of a very pale color, using my cerulean blue, some raw sienna as well, and some white. I wanted to be a much lighter color in the water, obviously, so this is actually able to do very nicely. Right there. And then I'm going to come back into the water one more time, make sure everything is where I want it to be. All right, let's do a little bit more work in the water. I did a little bit of work already in here, just a few little strokes of colors to create the depth against the dress, which is very nice. Some green in there, using my Viridian. And a few like some little strokes right in here, just to create some movement in the water without doing anything specific. Maybe some foam in here. And then there's a sort of a light purplish color right there, which is very pretty. When the water meets the sand, which is right in here. Sort of a grayish color for the sand there. We don't want to disrupt the shadow, which is rather important. So just get a few things like that. And then we're going to come back with some light and pick up some more sunlight on here. I may reintroduce that in a second, the shadow. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more work down in here, some of those folds. And the reflective light in the fold. So it's not direct sunlight, but it's very, very nice, very important to do. Right there. Okay, and then I'm going to use some thicker paint right in here to create that. And a little bit of strokes in here too. More sunlight. More sunlight in here. More sunlight right here where the shoulder is, which is right there. There you go. All right, let's outline the shape of her body right here, and I'm going to darken that area afterwards. It's an important space right there. Can follow through and a couple of spots in there as well. A lot of movement. All right, and then let's come back into the back of a dress in here. Just I'm sort of deep color, shadows right there. And it turns right in here. All right. Establish a couple of things at the top. I really want that contrast in the hair right there. It's good. There's some orange in there, bouncing off. A foot. Let's go back to a foot. There's some purple in the shadow, but it's still foot there. There. And the other one is kind of barely there, barely visible. And I'm going to reintroduce some light at the bottom. Just pick up some light right in there. Give a little bit more movement to the dress, which is blowing in the wind. That's a song, right? Some reflection in here, there. Reflective light. All right, there's a nice sort of little, like a belt right there, which is actually adds a lot to the painting. Plus reflective light right in here. It's very good. And maybe rearrange the water a little bit at the back. And I mean at the back, I mean against the dress right in here, just once and for all. So we have a breast right in here, and then we have the belt like this. And then we can just blend that out. I think that adds to the painting. Maybe a little bit deeper here. Yeah. Couple of things on the hair, I think, just to pop it up a little bit more against the water. Alizarin crimson, some burnt sienna, goes a long way. Yeah, a little bit deeper still, right in there. Right in here, I think that looks good. All right, let me just refine this a little bit in here, just to create a little bit more of a shape against that dress and pop out the color of the dress. Some nice contrast right in here. Just looks good. Couple of things back in here. Let me maybe simplify a little bit. Right against there. There. Bits and pieces. Right in there, I think this is good. The shadow, I think the shadow looks pretty good. Let me see. So just a few little touches there. All right, I think we call it a day on this one. So a very bold painting. I've changed my mind a couple of times. I got carried away here for the sake of the video. I didn't want details. So just a loose painting, very bold strokes, large brushes, and a beautiful subject, of course. a figure on the beach. Wonderful contrast. Anyway, let me know what you think of this one, and thank you for joining me again. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments, and please subscribe. I appreciate it. See you soon.